Park Church, thanks for joining me today on your Midweek Pastor's Moment. It's always great to spend a few moments with you getting into the Word and hopefully bringing you some encouragement. I just want to start off by saying what a great Sunday we had this past Sunday, which was our Connection Sunday. Many of you were out and the fellowship hall was just a buzz with so many people finding small groups to join and signing up for different serving opportunities. And so I was really excited. Just shows such a healthy church. Now, if you didn't get a connection guide on Sunday, or maybe you weren't able to make it, I encourage you to pick one up this Sunday and browse many of the options. There's also different events that are happening this semester. And so you want to pick one up and hold on to it and refer back to it often about all the things that are happening. For our Park Online community, you can also browse our small group directory by going to our website and clicking on the small groups tab. You'll find lots of information there, including our virtual small groups that happen exclusively online. I want to take you down memory lane for a minute. Do you remember your favorite school teacher? Just your favorite teacher, whoever comes to mind. I have a few when I think about which teacher was my favorite. Certainly, Mr. Beardall comes to mind. He was my grade 10 history and geography teacher, and something about his approach to the classroom. He was able to make it fun and inviting for students. He knew how to play the line between what was acceptable as a teacher and things that you would never expect a teacher to do. I remember he put shaving cream on a kid's head during a test once, and he kept things light, but he did have a very serious side, and there was a line, and you never crossed it. Watch out if you cross the line with Mr. Beardall. And then there was Mr. Armacita. He was my French teacher. He was a tall, older Italian man, and he wore the skinniest kind of skinny ties. I mean, the skinniest. Mr. Armacita was not only the French teacher, but he was also my first Spanish teacher. And in prior years at the school, he was the Italian teacher. And it wasn't just Mr. Armacita's classroom that I remember. It was his passion for language and culture. He was extremely passionate. He would teach us often about the cultures in these Latin countries or in France. He would listen to French radio during his breaks or during his lunch. In that ways, I often called him a bit of a traitor to his Italian heritage, but he just loved these cultures. And it was that, I really believe, that was an influence on me pursuing languages throughout high school and into university as I was studying Spanish at York University in Toronto. And so you can't underestimate the influential power of just one person, because it only takes one to make a difference. Jack Kemp was a former football player and he turned American politician. He said that the power of one man or one woman doing the right thing for the right reasons at the right time is the greatest influence in our society. That is a hugely powerful statement. One person doing the right things for the right reasons at the right time has a great power and influence on our society. And you know what? It doesn't take any special skills that make a difference. Generally, being available is the qualifier. It's not about these other specialties. It's about your availability. And so there's a great story that we read in 1 Kings chapter 17. It's Elijah's story as he encounters or is commanded to a widow. And so I want to read you some verses. We're going to read from verse 8 to verse 16. It says, "Then the word of the Lord came to him being Elijah, 'Go at once to Zarephath, to the region of Sidon, and stay there. I've directed a widow to supply you with food.' So he went to Zarephath, and there he came to the town gate. A widow was gathering sticks, and he called to her, 'Would you bring me a little water in a jar so that I may have a drink?' As she was going to get it, he called, 'And bring me a piece of bread.' 'As surely as the Lord lives,' she replies, 'I don't have any bread. I have only a handful of flour in a jar and a little olive oil in a jug. I'm gathering sticks to take home and make a meal for myself and my son that we may eat it and die.' Elijah said to her, 'Do not be afraid. Go home and do as you have said. But first, Make a small loaf of bread for me from what you have, and bring it to me. Then make something for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. The jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land." So she went away and did as Elijah had told her. So there was food every day for Elijah and for the woman and her family. For the jug of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry, in keeping with the word of the Lord to Elijah. See, this small offering made by this woman made a significant difference in the life of Elijah, and she plays a crucial role in displaying the sovereignty of God and the faithfulness of God to Elijah and to God's people. See, the widow didn't have any special skills, and she didn't need any new skills. And in fact, she didn't even need any extra resources to make a difference. She already had all that she needed, which was a small jar of flour and a little jar of oil. And the widow was overcoming a great obstacle in that she was afraid. There were circumstances, there was a great famine, and she was essentially making her last meal, and she was afraid. And so Elijah addresses that, and he says, "Do not be afraid." This is what God says. This is how God is going to use you. This is how God can take what little you have and multiply it and make an incredible impact and do something powerful. She makes herself available to be used by God. Now, this may not seem like much. She didn't really do anything besides cook a few small meals for the prophet, to take her little oil and flour and do what she had likely always done every day. But in the New Testament, Jesus gives us some very insightful referencing into this very story, and that happens in Luke chapter 25. Jesus says, "Certainly there were many widows in Elijah's time. There were many widows in Israel at Elijah's time, specifically when the heavens were closed for 3.5 years and there was severe famine and drought." 3.5 years. Yet Elijah was not sent to any of them. That's the widows in Israel. He was sent instead to a foreigner, a widow of Zarephath in the land of Sidon. See, there were many widows in Israel that could have helped Elijah. There were many there, but God had to send Elijah to a foreign woman to find one that was available. Jesus is telling us in the context of a prophet is not without honor except in their own hometown. And so the only place that God could find an available widow was among the foreigners. There were many vessels, many widows, many vessels, but only one vessel being willing to be used. And that is a sad and devastating truth about the Church of Christ, I would say all over the world, certainly in North America, that there are many vessels, many vessels, but few that are willing to be used, few that are willing to make themselves available, because certainly if all were made available, there would be more than enough laborers to fulfill the work that God has intended for us to do. And yet, like many, you've probably heard, it's 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. And so we need to be willing vessels. We see this through Isaiah when he has a revelation of who God is, and God speaks and says, "Whom shall we send for us, and whom will go?" And Isaiah's emphatic answer is, "Here am I, Lord, send me." I just want to be willing. I want to be available. I want to see the miraculous happen through the ordinary. All we have is perceivably ordinary skills or gifts or resources, yet in the hand of God, directed by Him, they can be used for extraordinary purposes. And so my prayer is, like the Hillsong song goes, the Hillsong song, you can Google it after this video, New Wine. It says, "Make me a vessel, make me an offering." Lord, you're bringing new wine, you're bringing new purpose, you're bringing new calling out of my life as I make myself available to you. And so I pray that that would touch home with you today about being available to be used by God, not seeing that you need some special gifts or special qualities, things that maybe you perceive are a little envious in other people, But as we saw on Sunday, just 5.5 regular believers willing to be used by God, willing to make themselves available. Incredible, incredible testimonies coming from just simply being available for God. It's not about ability, it's about availability. And so I pray that you'll just chew on that this week. So a couple of quick announcements for you before I let you go for the evening. One is right now, Pastor Kayla is still in need of some helpers, specifically for Tuesday nights. Thank you to everybody who signed up on Sunday to help out in other areas of children's ministry, but we're still looking for an adult to help out on Tuesday nights for our Sing and Play ministry. That is for kids 2 to 3 years old whose parents are either attending a Bible study in the building on Tuesday nights or that are serving or leading another study or ministry. And as of right now, they are not able to bring their kids or drop them off. And so some are having to make alternate arrangements last minute due to this lack in leaders. Now, I really pray that there's somebody who will respond to this desperate need in order to serve these faithful people that are ministering and receiving ministry here at the church. Ministry to their kids is extremely important, and it really does remove a huge barrier for people in order to attend. We faithfully promote family night as something for all ages. And so we have this gap that we need to fill. So if you are available, and I'd love you to talk to Pastor Kayla about it, you can email her, find her email on our website, or call her directly at our office. Also happening on Tuesday nights, don't miss out on this. It is our adult discipleship class for this fall called Grow Character. It is one of our core tenets in our discipleship pathway. It comes right after the Hearing God seminar, and it's about 12 weeks that just works on developing our character. It's something that each and every one of us can't neglect to do. And so we believe that everybody in the church should take it at least once in their discipleship journey. So you can see Pastor Shay about that, or you can sign up online for Grow Character, and you will be blessed if you do. This coming Saturday is a great men's breakfast. Men, you only have 1 day to sign up. Tomorrow is the deadline, and don't forget that we're giving away a barbecue as a door prize. So invite your friend or neighbor, come on out, be encouraged, be filled up. These men's breakfasts are always a great opportunity to meet other people in a more casual and relaxed environment. So I encourage you to come on out, sign up online, or call our office. Finally, Sunday night is our first prayer summit of the fall. Happens at 6 p.m. It's 1 hour of prayer. We'll have worship followed by corporate prayer, prayer with each other together. And so I encourage you to come out if you've never been to a prayer summit. We want to be a house of prayer, and so we cannot neglect gathering together to seek the Lord, to pray, to lift one another up. Come early and you'll find the auditorium open with soft music, and you can find your place and just begin to seek the Lord. We do prayer summits monthly, some exciting things happening in October, but we don't want you to miss out. Childcare is provided, so bring your kids, adults, and it's just 1 hour on Sunday night. So can't wait to see you there. That's all for me tonight. Park Church, have a great evening, and we'll see you soon.